boring history for sleep, vertical bar, what it was like to visit a medieval tavern, and more. Picture yourself lost in the flicker of a medieval tavern's fire, where the air hums with raucous laughter and the clink of ale-soaked mugs. Forget the cold, muddy streets outside. This is where life spills over. Raw and unfiltered. Imagine knights trading boasts with peasants, a bard's crooked tune sparking cheers, while a poetess's courage echoes from ancient walls. Or drift to distant rice terraces, their quiet harmony carved into mountains by hands long forgotten. These aren't grand sagas of crowns or conquests. They're the pulse of ordinary souls, stubborn and vibrant, weaving history's heart through chaos and grit. Can you smell the smoky hearth? Feel the warmth of a shared jest? These tales, alive with joy and struggle, beckon you closer. Dim the lights, curl up tight, and let's wander into this glowing, rowdy world where every mug raised, every story told, is a spark that lights the dark. Picture yourself in a medieval town, friend, as the sun dips low and the air grows thick with the scent of wood smoke and damp earth. The streets are a maze of mud and shadow, where carts creak and stray dogs sniff at forgotten scraps. You're tired, maybe a little lost, and the world feels heavy on your shoulders. But then, from somewhere close, there's a burst of laughter, a snatch of song, and the warm glow of firelight spilling from a crooked wooden building. You found it in the tavern. Not just any tavern, mind you, but the beating heart of this town, the place where stories are born, fights are settled, and for a few hours, the weight of the world can wait. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Taverns are just bars, right? Places to grab a drink and maybe a bite? Oh, friend, they were so much more. In the Middle Ages, from roughly the 5th to the 15th century, the tavern wasn't just a spot to quench your thirst. It was the town's unofficial pulse, a niche where every thread of society tangled together. Imagine a place where a knight in dented armor could slump next to a farmer with mud-caked boots, where a bard with a half-tuned lute might trade verses with a merchant flashing too many coins. This wasn't a private club or a fancy inn with velvet curtains. No, the tavern was raw, real, and open to anyone with a few pennies or a good story to barter. It was where news traveled faster than a horse, where gossip was currency, and where, for better or worse, you were never truly alone. Let's set the scene a bit. Medieval towns weren't exactly bursting with entertainment options. No theaters, no coffee shops, no scrolling feeds to numb the mind. Life was hard days spent, plowing fields, forging iron, or dodging the tax collector's glare. The church loomed large, of course, with its sermons and bells, but it wasn't exactly a place to unwind. The tavern, though, that was different. It was the one spot where you could shake off the day's grit, where the rules of rank and propriety blurred just a little. A peasant could clap a lord on the shoulder after a few mugs of ale, and nobody would but an eye well, unless the lord was in a foul mood. It was a leveling ground, a chaotic little universe, where the ordinary and the absurd danced together under a roof that probably leaked. But why was the tavern such a magnet? Part of it was practical. In a time when clean water was a gamble, wells could be foul, rivers' worse ale was often safer to drink. It was weak, mind you, not the stuff that'd knock you flat, but it was reliable. Families drank it, kids too, because it was less likely to send you to an early grave than whatever was lurking in the stream. Taverns were the main spots to get it. Brewed fresh, or at least fresh-ish, often in the back room where the tavern keeper kept a wary eye on the barrels. And food? Well, that was another draw. Not gourmet, mind you think. Thick stews simmering for days. Bread that could double as a club, but it was hot, it was filling, and it was more than most could manage at home after a long day. Beyond the basics, though, the tavern was a lifeline for connection. Medieval life could be isolating. Villages were small. Travel was risky. and news from the outside world trickled in slowly, if at all. The tavern was where you heard about the king's latest war, the bandits spotted on the road, or the neighbor who swore his cow was cursed. It was a newsroom, a gossip mill, a place where rumors grew legs and ran wild. A merchant might arrive with tales of a distant port, a pilgrim with stories of a saint's miracle, or a soldier with a yarn about a dragon that was probably just a Frenchman with a bad attitude. True or not, it didn't matter. The tavern was where the world felt bigger, where your little corner of it suddenly stretched to the horizon. And let's not forget the chaos. Taverns weren't quiet. They weren't polite. They were loud, messy, and gloriously alive. Picture a room packed with voices, shouting, laughing, arguing over a stolen chicken or a bad dice roll. Someone singing, off-key, about a goose. Someone else is snoring under a table, mug still in hand. The air's thick with smoke from the hearth, the floors sticky with spilled ale, and every now and then, a fight breaks out, only to end with both brawlers laughing over a fresh round. It was a place where emotions ran hot, where joy and trouble were never far apart. Danger? Oh sure, pickpockets worked the crowd, and a wrong word could earn you a black eye. Disease lingered too, nobody was washing their hands back then. But so did laughter, so did warmth, and in a world where winter or war could steal you away without warning, that was worth something. The tavern's magic, though, wasn't just in its noise or its ale. It was in what it offered, a sense of belonging. In a time when survival demanded constant vigilance, the tavern was a rare space to let your guard down, even if just a little. You weren't just a farmer, or a weaver, or a stranger passing through. You were part of the crowd, part of the story. Deals were struck over wobbly tables, friendships forged in the clink of mugs, and yes, sometimes enemies made when the dice didn't fall right. It was a microcosm of life itself, messy, human, and unforgettable. So, as we linger here, friend, imagine yourself at the edge of this world, the tavern doors just ahead, its hinges groaning like they've got a story of their own. You can hear the hum of voices, the crackle of the fire. The night's young, the ale's waiting, and whatever's weighing on you can stay outside for now. This is the Medieval Tavern. Not just a place, but a feeling, a pulse, a niche carved out of hardship and hope. Let's step closer in the next part, where we'll push through that door and meet the chaos head on. For now, breathe deep. Let the firelight flicker in your mind and drift a little. We've got time. All right, friend, here we are again, wandering the twilight streets of a medieval town. The air's cool now, heavy with the damp of evening, and your boots squelch in the mud with every step. You're bone-tired, maybe a little hungry, and the day's been one long blur of creaking carts and shouting vendors. But somewhere out there, beyond the flicker of torchlight, there's a promise of warmth, a place to rest your weary self. Imagine you're trudging through this town. No map in your pocket, no glowing signs to guide you. Medieval streets don't come with neat labels or blinking arrows. They're a jumble of narrow alleys, half-timbered houses, leaning like they're sharing secrets, and the occasional puddle that smells suspiciously like yesterday's soup. You've dodged a cart of turnips twice, and sidestepped a stray goat that's eyeing you like you owe it money. Where's the tavern? You don't need a compass, friend. You need your ears. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. Past the clanging of a blacksmith's hammer, past the fishmonger hollering about his questionably fresh eels, there's something else. A hum, a pulse, a chorus of voices rising and falling like a tide. Laughter, sharp and wild. Someone shouting about a lost bet. And wait, is that a song about a goose? That's your beacon. Follow it. The sound grows louder as you turn a corner. And there it is, looming out of the dusk like a drunken friend waving you over. The tavern's a crooked wooden building, its beams sagging as if they've had one too many themselves. It's not grand. No marble columns or stained glass here. Just weathered planks, a thatched roof patched with hope, and a wooden sign swinging above the door. The sign's barely legible, its paint chipped and faded. Is that a barrel? A bear? Maybe a barrel? And a bear, who's to say? The carver wasn't aiming for clarity, and nobody's complaining. This is the place, the niche, where the town's heart beats loudest. You take a step closer, and the ground's slick underfoot ale, mud, or something worse. You don't ask. The door's heavy, iron hinged, and as you push it open, it lets out a groan so long and mournful it could star in its own ballad. Step inside, and the world shifts. The air hits you first, warm and thick, like a hug from someone who's been drinking. It's a heady mix of smoke from the hearth, wet wool from rain-soaked cloaks, stale beer, and a whiff of roasted meat that might be mutton or might not. Your eyes need a moment to adjust. The room's dim, lit by flickering candles, and the glow of a fire blazing in the far corner. Shadows dance on the walls, making even the benches look like they're up to something. The ceiling's low, so low a tall man might spend half his night ducking, and a drunk one's guaranteed a bruise. The floor? Dirt. Plain and simple, though someone scattered straw in a half-hearted nod to cleanliness. Spoiler, it's not clean. It's sticky, uneven, and if you stand still too long, you might become part of the decor. Look around, friend. This isn't a place for quiet reflection. The tavern's alive, buzzing with voices that overlap like a poorly rehearsed choir. Over there, a man's arguing about a stolen chicken, waving his mug for emphasis. Near the hearth, a woman slams her tankard down, spilling half her drink, and nobody blinks. Under a table, a one-eyed dog gnaws a bone like he's the landlord. And in the corner, someone's already passed out, a ladle inexplicably clutched in his hand. The benches are packed, wobbly, and damp with who knows what. You spot an open seat, but it's next to a man staring into his mug like it holds the secrets of the universe. Do you sit? Maybe. For now, you're just taking it in, letting the chaos wash over you. This moment, right here, standing just inside the door, it's a threshold. Not just to a building, but to a world. Outside, you were a stranger, a traveler, a nobody. In here, you're a part of something bigger, whether you like it or not. The tavern doesn't care who you are. It's too busy being itself rowdy, raw, and unapologetic. It's not just a place to drink or eat. It's a stage, a battlefield, a confessional, all rolled into one. You've made it through the mud and the dark to find this niche, and now you're in it, for better or worse. So, take a deep breath, ignore the onions, and let's find our place in this madness next time. For now, let the hum of voices, the crackle of the fire, carry you. Drift a little, friend. The night's just begun. Just inside the tavern's heavy door, the world outside is fading like a half-remembered dream. The air's warm, pressing against you like a wool blanket, and the hum of voices wraps around you, pulling you deeper into this rowdy niche. You've made it through the muddy streets, past the creaking sign and groaning hinges, and now you're standing in the heart of the Medieval Tavern, where we linger, letting the sights, smells, and sounds sink in, washing over us like a tide. This isn't just a room, it's a living, breathing chaos, and every breath you take pulls you further into its spell. So, find a spot to lean, let your eyes adjust to the flicker of firelight, and let's sink into the sensory storm of this place together. Take a moment to feel the air. It's thick, heavy with the weight of 100 stories. The hearth in the far corner blazes, its flames licking at logs that pop and hiss, sending curls of smoke drifting toward a chimney that's probably seen better days, maybe stuffed with a nest or two. The smoke doesn't quite escape, mind you. It lingers, lazy and stubborn, weaving through the room like a ghost that's decided to stay for the ale. It stings your eyes just a bit, makes you blink, but there's something comforting in it too. like the tavern saying, "You're here now, no turning back." The heat from the fire wraps around you, chasing away the chill of the evening streets, but it's not all cozy. It's a warmth that's half inviting, half hazardous, like a friend who's a little too fond of swinging a tankard. Now breathe in if you dare. The smell of a medieval tavern isn't something you forget. It's less a scent and more an assault, a punch to the senses that lands somewhere between nostalgia and regret. At the top, there's ale, warm and sour, splashed across tables and soaked into the straw underfoot. It's not a clean, crisp brew. Friend, this is unfiltered, cloudy stuff brewed in the back where the dog naps. Beneath that, there's sweat, years of it, baked into cloaks and tunics, human and horse, and maybe something that wandered in from the woods. Add a layer of moldy bread, left too long in a corner, and wet straw that's been trampled into a soggy mess. And then, just when you think you've got it, a whiff of boiled onions drifts by, sharp and lingering, like the tavern's own signature perfume. No one's bottling this, trust me. It's not subtle, but it's honest, raw, the kind of smell that tells you this place has seen everything and apologized for nothing. Look around. Let your eyes wander. The lights dim, flickering from candles stuck in iron holders, their wax dripping onto tables carved with initials, knife scars, and drawings that might be rude or just badly done. The walls are soot-stained, blackened by years of smoke and stories, and the shadows they cast make the room feel alive, like the chairs might stand up and join the argument in the corner. The hearth's glow paints everything in shades of amber and gray, turning faces into half-seen masks, some laughing, some scowling, some just staring into their mugs like they're reading the future. The floor's a patchwork of dirt and straw, uneven and sticky, and every step you take feels like a gamble. One wrong move, and your foot's sinking into something you'd rather not name. You learn to tread lightly, to pick your path like a cat crossing a stream. And the noise, oh friend, the noise is the tavern's heartbeat. It's not one sound but a dozen, layered and clashing like a market on feast day. Laughter erupts from one table, big and booming, the kind that shakes the rafters and makes you wonder what the joke was. Probably something about hay or a duck. You never ask. Voices pile on top of each other, shouting, arguing, storytelling, each one fighting to be heard. A man near you ranting about the price of a pig, his face red as the fire. A woman slams her mug down, spilling ale and curses in equal measure, and the room doesn't even flinch. Somewhere, a bard's strumming a lute, the notes half drowned but stubborn, looping through a song about love or chickens or both. And then there's the clink of mugs, the scrape of benches, the thud of boots on dirt. It's chaos, but it's rhythmic, like a storm that's learned to sing. Every now and then, the room dips into a sudden hush, a breath held for 3 seconds, and then yep, someone burps, loud as thunder, and the noise crashes back like it never left. Stand here a moment, friend, and feel it all. The tavern's not just a place, it's a force, a niche that swallows you whole and makes you part of its pulse. It's overwhelming, sure, but there's a strange welcome in it. The smoke, the smells, the din. They're not trying to push you out. They're pulling you in, saying, "You're one of us now, for tonight at least. You're not just a traveler anymore. You're part of the crowd, the chaos, the story." So, let's take another step next time. Find a seat and see what this place has in store. For now, let the fires crackle, the voices hum, carry you. Close your eyes, drift a little. The tavern's alive, and you're right in its heart. You've just stepped through the tavern's groaning door, friend, leaving the muddy streets behind, and now the warmth of this rowdy niche engulfs you like a tide. As the echoes of the outside world fade, Replaced by a chorus of laughter and clinking mugs, you're no longer just a traveler. You're part of this living, breathing chaos. This is where the air, the smells, the sounds weave a spell, pulling you deeper into a world that's as overwhelming as it is strangely welcoming. So, stand still a moment, let your senses adjust, and let's sink into the heart of this medieval madness. This is where the air, the smells, the sounds weave a spell, pulling you deeper into a world that's as overwhelming as it is strangely welcoming. So, stand still a moment, let your senses adjust, and let's sink into the heart of this medieval madness. The first thing you notice is the air, thick and heavy, pressing against you like a damp cloak fresh from the rain. It's warm, thanks to the hearth blazing in the corner, its flames crackling with a rhythm that feels almost alive. Logs pop and spit, sending wisps of smoke curling upward, but the chimney likely clogged with years of soot or a stray bird's nest doesn't do its job. The smoke lingers, drifting through the room, stinging your eyes just enough to make you squint. It's not harsh though. It's part of the tavern's embrace, a hazy veil that softens the edges of the world. That warmth from the fire wraps around you, chasing away the chill of the evening, but it's a tricky kind of comfort. Too close, and you're sweating. Too far, and the cold creeps back. It's a balance, like everything here, equal parts inviting and untamed. Now, take a breath carefully, friend, because the smell of this place is a story all its own. As you inhale, the tavern scent hits you, not gently, but with the bold honesty of a drunken handshake. At its core is ale, warm and sour, its sharp tang clinging to every surface: tables, benches, the straw-strewn floor. This isn't the crisp brew of today. It's cloudy, unfiltered, brewed in some dim back room where barrels sit like silent sentinels. Layered beneath is sweat, a deep, earthy note from years of crowded nights, mingling human toil with the faint musk of horses, or maybe a stray dog. Then comes moldy bread, forgotten in a corner, and wet straw, soggy from spills and boots. Just when you think you've mapped it, a whiff of boiled onions cuts through, sharp and stubborn, like the tavern's own defiant perfume. It's not pleasant, not exactly, but it's real. A raw, unfiltered echo of lives lived loud and close. Shift your gaze and let the sights unfold. The room's dim, lit by candles wedged into iron holders, their wax dripping onto tables scarred with knife marks, initials, and drawings that might be art or insults. You see soot-stained walls, blackened by smoke and time, where shadows dance like they're part of the crowd. The hearth's glow casts an amber haze, turning faces into fleeting sketches, some grinning, some lost in thought, some glaring at a neighbor's dice roll. The floor's a mess of dirt and straw, sticky underfoot, and every step feels like a negotiation with something you'd rather not name. It's uneven, too, sloping just enough to make you wonder if the tavern's leaning with its patrons. The ceiling looms low, forcing tall folk to duck and drunk ones to curse, its beams dark and worn, like they've heard every secret spilled here. And the sounds, oh, the sounds are the tavern's pulse. It's a symphony of chaos, a tangle of voices that rises and falls like a stormy sea. Laughter booms from one corner, wild and free, sparked by a joke about a pig or a priest you don't ask. You just smile. Voices layer over each other, shouting, arguing, storytelling, each one clawing for space. A man nearby rants about a stolen hen, his mug sloshing with every gesture. A woman's curse cuts through as she spills her ale, and the room shrugs it off. Somewhere, a bard strums a lute, its strings half-tuned, weaving a song about lost love or found chickens. Mugs clink, benches scrape, boots thud on dirt, and every so often a burp rumbles loud enough to earn a cheer. The noise dips now and then, a sudden hush that holds for a heartbeat. then crashes back, relentless and alive. This sensory flood, the smoke, the smells, the flickering light, the din, it's more than just a backdrop. It's the tavern's soul, a niche that binds everyone in its embrace. As we carry this moment forward, you feel it pulling you in, making you part of the crowd, the chaos, the story. It's overwhelming, sure, but there's a warmth in it, a promise that you belong, if only for tonight. So, let's take another step in the next part. Find a place to sit and see where this wild night leads. For now, let the fires crackle, the voices hum, the scent of ale carry you. Close your eyes, drift a little, and let the tavern hold you close. We're exploring the tavern's layout and how it works. This patchwork of beams and barrels that somehow holds all this chaos together. It's not just a room, but a living machine. Every corner serving a purpose, every wobble telling a story. So, shift your weight, mind the sticky floor, and let's wander through this crooked, firelit world, letting its rough charm carry us. Picture the tavern as a puzzle, thrown together during a storm and left as it landed. There's no grand design here, no architect's blueprint pinned to the wall. Instead, it's a sprawl of tables, benches, and crates, scattered like they were dropped by a giant with bad aim. Those lucky enough to snag a seat nearby bask in the warmth, their faces flushed, while others, stuck in the chilly corners, huddle closer to their mugs. The hearth's not just for comfort, it's a cook fire too, with a pot of something bubbling, maybe stew, maybe mystery, tended by a tavern keeper who's got one eye on the flames and another on the crowd. Look beyond the fire, and the layout feels like organized madness. Tables are everywhere, but calling them tables is generous. They're planks, rough and uneven, propped on barrels or wobbly legs, carved with years of initials and knife fights. They're too close in some spots, forcing you to squeeze past elbows and cloaks, and too far apart in others, leaving awkward gaps where drunks trip and spill. Benches creak under the weight of muddy boots and heavy stories, some so worn they groan with every shift. Here and there, a crate or stool passes for a seat, claimed by someone too late or too cheap for a proper spot. It's not cozy, not neat, but it works. A niche where every surface has a purpose, even if that purpose is just surviving the night. At the room's edge, you spot the bar, if you can call it that. It's just a thick wooden plank stretched across two barrels, sagging under jugs, mugs, and the elbows of patrons shouting for another round. They're a whirlwind, pouring ale, barking orders, and glaring at that one guy who hasn't paid since last week. No menus here, friends. Just ask what's on offer, and brace yourself. The answer's usually ale, or a grunt that means wait your turn. The bar's not a fancy counter. It's a battlefield, sticky with spills and littered with crumbs, but it's the tavern's nerve center, where coin and drink change hands, peer upward, and the ceiling's a low, dark tangle of beams, so close you duck instinctively. They're blackened by smoke, scarred by time, and probably holding up the roof by sheer stubbornness. Windows, if you can call them that, are small, covered with greasy cloth or animal hide, letting in slivers of moonlight, but keeping the warmth trapped. The walls are no better than rough plaster or wood, stained with soot and splashed with who knows what, leaning slightly as if the tavern's had a few too many itself. Somewhere, a narrow staircase twists upward, its steps splintery and steep, leading to rooms where travelers sleep or try to. A boot dangles from the railing, maybe decoration, maybe a warning. You don't ask. Tucked away, there's sometimes a back room, a shadowy corner behind a curtain or rickety door. It might be for storage, barrels stacked high with ale or moldy grain, or it could be where dice games turn serious, where deals are whispered, or where the last fool who crossed the barmaid was last seen. It's a mystery, And the tavern likes it that way. Every corner has a secret, every shadow a story. The layout's not meant to make sense. It's meant to hold life, to let it spill and shout and stumble without breaking. This place runs on its own logic, friend. The tavern keeper's the engine, keeping the ale flowing and the fights from burning the place down. Helpers, maybe a kid, maybe a spouse, dart through the crowd, hauling jugs or sweeping straw, dodging drunks like it's a dance they've known forever. Patrons know the unspoken rules. Shout when you need to, duck when you have to, and don't block the path to the fire. It's chaos, but it's a delicate chaos, a niche, balanced by need and habit. You're standing in the tavern's smoky heart, friend, where the air hums with laughter and the fire's glow dances across scarred tables, just as we left you in that sensory whirlwind. The smells of ale and onions still cling to you, the din of voices a steady lullaby. Now, as your eyes trace the flickering shadows, let's wander deeper into this chaotic niche, exploring how this rickety, firelit space is built and how it holds all this life together. Think of the tavern as a living thing, its beams and barrels pulsing with purpose, every wobble and creak a whispered story. So, ease your shoulders, mind the sticky straw underfoot, and let's drift through this crooked world, letting its rough warmth cradle us. Imagine this place as a patchwork quilt, stitched together by chance and necessity. There's no tidy order here, no grand plan carved in stone. The tavern's layout feels like it grew wild, tables and benches scattered as if a storm tossed them and called it good. At the center of it all is the hearth, that roaring blaze we felt before, its flames licking the air and painting the room in shades of amber. It's more than just a fire. It's the tavern's anchor, drawing folks close, their faces softened by the heat. Those near it guard their spots, soaking up warmth, while others, stuck by the drafty walls, clutch their mugs a little tighter. The hearth does double duty too, with a blackened pot simmering over the flames, maybe holding pottage or some questionable meat, its steam curling like a secret only the keeper knows. Step around, and the tables come into focus, though they're hardly tables in the fancy sense. They're rough planks, propped on barrels or legs that don't quite agree, etched with knife scars, lovers' initials, and drawings that might be art or just someone's bad night. They're crowded close in some corners, forcing you to sidle past cloaks and elbows, then spaced far apart in others, leaving gaps where a stumble could send you sprawling. Benches groan under muddy boots and heavy tails, some so worn they creak like they're joining the conversation. A crate here, a stool there, makeshift seats for latecomers, or those too broke for better. It's not a place for comfort, but for holding fast. A niche where every surface has a job, even if it's just staying upright. Now, let your gaze drift to the bar, if you can call it that. It's a sturdy plank stretched over barrels, bowing under the weight of jugs, clay mugs, and the tavern's endless demands. This is the tavern's pulse, where ale flows and coins clink, where voices shout for another round or beg for mercy. Behind it looms the keeper, a figure we'll meet soon, juggling mugs and glares with the ease of someone who's seen every kind of trouble. No menus, no fancy lists. Just ask what's ready, and you'll get ale, maybe cider, or a sharp word to wait. The bar's a mess, sticky with spills, strewn with bits of bread, but it's the heart of the tavern's work, a stage where need meets supply, and the night keeps moving. Tucked in a corner, there's a back room, hidden behind a curtain or a door that sags on its hinges. Or it could be where dice games turn sharp, where whispers seal deals or settle scores. Maybe it's where the last soul who crossed the keeper learned to regret it. The tavern keeps its shadows close, and that's part of its charm. This place runs on a rhythm all its own, with the keeper as its conductor. Helpers a boy, a spouse, a stray taken in weave through the crowd, hauling mugs, sweeping straw, dodging drunks like it's a dance they've always known. The crowd plays along too, knowing when to shout, when to sidestep, when to guard their coin. This tavern's not just a space, it's a delicate balance, a niche where chaos and order lean into each other. Every plank, every flame, every creak holds it together, letting life spill without breaking. As we drift onward, we'll meet the keeper who keeps this wild world spinning. But for now, let the fires hum, the benches sigh, the clink of mugs settle around you. You're here, in this leaning, living place, part of its heartbeat. Close your eyes, sway a little. Let the tavern's warmth carry you deeper into the night. You're standing in the tavern's smoky heart, friend, where the air hums with laughter and the fire's glow dances across scarred tables, just as we left you in that sensory whirlwind. The smells of ale and onions still cling to you, the din of voices a steady lullaby. Now, as your eyes trace the flickering shadows, let's wander deeper into this chaotic niche, exploring how this rickety, firelit space is built and how it holds all this life together. Think of the tavern as a living thing, its beams and barrels pulsing with purpose, every wobble and creak a whispered story. So, ease your shoulders, mind the sticky straw underfoot, and let's drift through this crooked world, letting its rough warmth cradle us. Imagine this place as a patchwork quilt, stitched together by chance and necessity. There's no tidy order here, no grand plan carved in stone. The tavern's layout feels like it grew wild, tables and benches scattered as if a storm tossed them and called it good. At the center of it all is the hearth, that roaring blaze we felt before, its flames licking the air and painting the room in shades of amber. It's more than just a fire, it's the tavern's anchor, drawing folks close, their faces softened by the heat. Those near it guard their spots, soaking up warmth, while others, stuck by the drafty walls, clutch their mugs a little tighter. The hearth does double duty too, with a blackened pot simmering over the flames, maybe holding pottage or some questionable meat. Its steam curling like a secret only the keeper knows. Step around, and the tables come into focus. Though they're hardly tables in the fancy sense, they're rough planks, propped on barrels or legs that don't quite agree, etched with knife scars, lovers' initials, and drawings that might be art or just someone's bad night. They're crowded close in some corners, forcing you to sidle past cloaks and elbows, then spaced far apart in others, leaving gaps where a stumble could send you sprawling. Benches groan under muddy boots and heavy tails, some so worn they creak like they're joining the conversation. A crate here, a stool they're makeshift seats for latecomers or those too broke for better. It's not a place for comfort, but for holding fast, a niche where every surface has a job, even if it's just staying upright. Now, let your gaze drift to the bar, if you can call it that. It's a sturdy plank stretched over barrels, bowing under the weight of jugs, clay mugs, and the tavern's endless demands. This is the tavern's pulse, where ale flows and coins clink, where voices shout for another round or beg for mercy. Behind it looms the keeper, a figure we'll meet soon, juggling mugs and glares with the ease of someone who's seen every kind of trouble. No menus, no fancy lists. Just ask what's ready, and you'll get ale, maybe cider, or a sharp word to wait. The bar's a mess, sticky with spills, strewn with bits of bread, but it's the heart of the tavern's work, a stage where need meets supply, and the night keeps moving. Tucked in a corner, there's a back room, hidden behind a curtain or a door that sags on its hinges. It might hold barrels of ale, sacks of grain gone soft with damp. Or it could be where dice games turn sharp, where whispers seal deals or settle scores. Maybe it's where the last soul who crossed the keeper learned to regret it. The tavern keeps its shadows close, and that's part of its charm. This place runs on a rhythm all its own, with the keeper as its conductor, helpers a boy, a spouse, a stray taken in weave through the crowd, hauling mugs, sweeping straw, dodging drunks like it's a dance they've always known. The crowd plays along too, knowing when to shout, when to sidestep, when to guard their coin. This tavern's not just a space, it's a delicate balance, a niche where chaos and order lean into each other. Every plank, every flame, every creak holds it together, letting life spill without breaking. As we drift onward, we'll meet the keeper who keeps this wild world spinning. But for now, let the fires hum, the benches sigh, the clink of mugs settle around you. You're here, in this leaning, living place, part of its heartbeat. Close your eyes, sway a little, let the tavern's warmth carry you deeper into the night. The tavern's warmth holds you close, friend. Your mug of cloudy ale still heavy in your hand, its bitter tang lingering on your tongue from our last wander through the tavern's drinks. The fire crackles softly, and the hum of voices weaves a gentle lullaby, this niche alive with the clatter of mugs and the keeper's watchful gaze. Now, as your stomach rumbles, a quiet reminder of a day spent trudging through mud, let's turn to the tavern's other gift, its food. Not feasts fit for lords, mind you, but hearty, rough fare that fills the belly and soothes the soul. So, settle deeper into your creaky bench, let the hearth's glow wrap around you, and let's savor the simple, earthy offerings of this medieval table, drifting through their warmth like a soft dream. Food in the tavern is a humble affair, born of necessity and whatever the day's brought in. As you lean back from the bar's sticky edge, still savoring that ale's bite, you catch the scent of something hot, something that promises to quiet your hunger. There's no waiter gliding over with a menu, no list of specials scrawled in chalk. You catch the keeper's eye, or maybe a helper's a lad darting through the crowd with a tray and ask what's cooking. The answer's short, maybe a nod toward a steaming pot by the hearth. Pottage is the star here, the tavern's mainstay, a thick stew that's more a way of life than a dish. It's been simmering since dawn, or maybe since last week, in a blackened cauldron that's seen more winters than you have. Into it goes whatever's at hand. Barley, onions, a carrot or two, maybe some cabbage past its prime. If you're lucky, there's a bit of rabbit, a pigeon, or a chicken that wandered too close to the fire. Each day, new scraps are tossed in, nothing taken out, making it a living stew, a culinary relic of every meal before. You're handed a bowl, wooden or clay, chipped and warm from use. No spoons unless you've brought your own. Most folk carry a knife, and fingers do the rest. The pottage is thick, lumpy, a deep brown that doesn't invite questions. Take a bite, and it's hot, heavy, with a flavor that's more about survival than delight. The barley's chewy, the onion's soft, and if there's meat, it's a rare treasure, tender or tough depending on its luck. It's not a dish to savor slowly. It's food to keep you going, to fill the hollow left by a long day's toil. Yet, in the firelight, with the tavern's noise around you, it's comforting, like a story told by someone who knows you well. You scoop another bite, careful not to think too hard about what's floating in the broth, and let its warmth spread through you. Beside the pottage, there's bread, a staple as old as the tavern itself. It's dark, dense, more a weapon than a delicacy, baked from rye or barley flour that's coarse enough to crunch. If it's fresh, baked today, it's soft enough to tear with your hands, its crust cracking under your fingers. If it's older, say, from last market day, it's hard as stone, best dunked in your pottage to soften it up. Either way, it's filling, a partner to the stew that grounds every meal. Sometimes, there's cheese, a wedge of it pungent enough to clear the air, its rind tough, and its heart crumbly, smelling like a well-worn boot. You break off a piece, pair it with the bread, and it's a quiet kind of heaven. Simple but true. Eating here is more than a meal. It's a ritual, A moment to pause in this niche where life spills over. The bowl's warmth, the bread's weight, the chatter around you, they weave a spell, making the world feel a little less heavy. As we drift toward what comes next, we'll join the crowd's laughter and games. But for now, let the pottage's heat, the bread's rough crust, and the fire's soft hum hold you. You're here, in this tavern's heart, part of its fleeting, filling night. Close your eyes, chew slowly, let the warmth rock you gently into the dark. The fire hums softly, and the clink of mugs weaves a quiet rhythm, this niche pulsing with life, as voices rise and fall like a gentle tide. Now, as you lean back on your creaky bench, the ale's warmth loosening your thoughts, let's turn to the tavern's true magic, its people. This isn't just a place to eat or drink. It's a living tapestry of faces, stories, and fleeting bonds, where strangers become comrades, or maybe rivals, in the flicker of a candle. So, rest your mug on the scarred table, let the hearth's light soften the edges, and let's drift through the crowd, savoring the tavern's social heartbeat, carried along like leaves on a slow stream. The tavern's crowd is a world unto itself, a niche where every soul, from the loftiest knight to the muddiest peasant, finds a place, however brief. As you glance up from your bowl, still warm from the pottage we tasted, you see patrons packed shoulder to shoulder, their voices a chorus that fills the smoky air. To your left, a farmer, red-faced from too many ales, slaps your arm mid-story, spinning a tale about his cow's latest adventure, as if you've been friends for years. His laugh's too loud, his gestures wild, but there's a warmth in it, a pull to join his world, even if just for a moment. Across the room, a hooded figure nurses a mug in the shadows, their face half hidden, maybe a traveler with secrets, or just someone shy of the chaos. You don't approach it yet, but their silence adds a thread to the tavern's weave, a quiet note in its noisy song. Near the hearth, a soldier in battered armor holds court, his voice booming over the crowd. He's spinning a yarn about a battle with bandits, or maybe dragons, his hands carving the air as his listeners lean in, mugs forgotten, the tale's likely half made up, but no one cares their laughter. Says it's the telling that matters, not the truth. A merchant, sweaty and loud, interrupts from another table, shouting about grain prices no one asked for, his coin pouch flashing like a beacon for any thief in the room. He's begging to be robbed, or at least mocked, but his bravado's part of the show, a spark in the tavern's flickering light. Nearby, two locals huddle over a dice game, their faces tight with focus. One's cheating, you can tell by the way he palms the dice, but the other lets it slide, maybe saving the fight for later, when the ale runs dry. Women move through the crowd, sharp-eyed and sure, some carrying trays of mugs, others working their own trade. They're no wilting flowers one brushes past, her laugh bright, but her glance a warning not to test her patience. She might flirt, share a jest, or knock a drunk flat if he grabs her arm, and the room would cheer her on. Children, too, dart between legs, quick as mice, swiping a crust of bread or a dropped coin before vanishing into the chaos. No one stops them. It's just the tavern's rhythm, a dance where everyone knows their steps. A bard strums in a corner, his lute strings worn but true, singing of a lost love or a noble's bad haircut. His voice cracks on the high notes, but the crowd doesn't mind he's here. He's trying, and that's enough. This isn't just a gathering. It's a performance, a niche where every glance, every shout, adds to the story. You watch a man slump under a table, still muttering about his lost hat, and no one bats an eye. Another patron, deep in his cups, stares at you with a grin that's either friendly or unhinged, daring you to ask what's so funny. The tavern's a mirror, reflecting every mood, joy, suspicion, mischief, despair. It's a place where class blurs, where a peasant's jest can outshine a lord's coin if the crowd's in the mood. Friendships spark over a shared mug, grudges simmer over a spilled one, and every night's a new chapter, written in slurred words and sudden laughs. The tavern's social web thrives on its own rules. You learn fast to watch, to listen, to know when to nod and when to duck. It's a marketplace of stories, where a good tale buys you around, and a bad one earns you bread thrown at your head. As you sit, you're not just eating or drinking. You're part of the cast, woven into this loud, messy tapestry. The keeper watches it all. A silent conductor will meet soon. But for now, you're here, in the crowd's embrace. As we sway toward the next moment, we'll dive into the games and songs that light this place ablaze. But for now, let the farmers laugh, the bard's tune, the fire's soft crackle hold you. You're in this niche, a fleeting face in its endless night. Close your eyes, lean into the noise, let the tavern's pulse rock you gently into the dark. The fire's glow catches the dice rolling across a table, and the hum of voices carries you like a gentle current. This niche thrumming with stories shared over mugs and crumbs. Now, as you settle deeper into the tavern's pulse, your ears catching a stray note from a lute, let's drift into the heart of its wild spirit, the entertainment and chaos that light this place ablaze. No quiet evenings here, only a symphony of song, games, and glorious disorder that makes the night unforgettable. So, lean closer to the firelight, let the bench creak beneath you, and let's lose ourselves in the tavern's rowdy dance, carried along like embers on a warm breeze. The tavern's entertainment isn't planned or polished. It's a spark that catches and spreads, born from the crowd's restless energy. As you glance up from the social whirl we left behind, you hear it a clatter of mugs slamming against wood, not in anger, but in joy, a toast gone wild. Some shatter, others just clang, and both are met with cheers that shake the rafters. This is the tavern's heartbeat, a rhythm of chaos that ties every soul together. Laughter rolls through the room, big and untamed, like it's escaped from some ancient beast. A farmer chuckles at his own jest about a stubborn goat. A knight giggles at the word stew for reasons no one questions. Across the way, a monk wheezes every time someone says turnip, and you learn fast not to ask why. It's nonsense, but it's alive. A niche where joy needs no reason, only a mug and a moment. Then there's the music, rough and raw, cutting through the din like a friend calling your name. In a corner, the bard we spotted earlier strums a lute, its strings half-tuned, looping through the same 4 chords with dogged heart. His voice cracks on a ballad about a lost maiden or a runaway chicken, the lyrics shifting with each verse as he makes it up on the spot. No one's really listening, not until he weaves in a line about the merchant's flashy cloak, and then the room erupts half in cheers, half in jeers. It's not a concert, it's a game. A dare to keep the crowd's favor or dodge a throne crust. Sometimes another patron joins in, bellowing a song about a battle or a barmaid, their voice more enthusiasm than skill. The tavern doesn't care for perfection. It loves the effort, the noise, the spark that keeps the night alive. But the real fire comes from the games, the kind that turn the tavern into a battlefield of luck and bluff. Dice are king, carved from bone or wood, clattering across tables like tiny thunder. Each roll draws a crowd, their shouts rising with every toss, cheers for a win, groans for a loss, and sharp accusations of cheating that no one takes too seriously. The dice aren't always honest, mind you. A clever hand might swap them out, earning a wink or a scowl depending on the mood. Cards appear in fancier taverns, their edges worn, rules bending, with each player's story. You might aim for the highest number, match symbols, or just nod along as the game shifts mid-round. It's less about winning, and more about the thrill, the shared gamble that binds the table. Wagers range from coppers to promises a mug of ale, a goat, or once, a man's boots, which he lost and limped home without. The chaos spills beyond games, into moments that flare and fade like sparks. Someone spills their ale, and the room roars as if it's a grand event. Another trips over a bench, keeps talking from the floor, and earns a round of applause. A dog barks, a goat bleats. Why is there a goat? And it's just another note in the tavern's wild song. The keeper watches, ladle in hand, ready to quell the worst of it. But most nights, the chaos is the point. It's not peaceful, but it's rhythmic, a niche where disorder finds its own harmony. Every so often, the noise dips, a sudden hush falling like a held breath, only to break when someone burps loud enough to rattle the beams, and the laughter starts anew. This entertainment, this glorious mess, is the tavern's soul, a living performance where every patron plays a part. You're not just watching, you're in it. Your laughter joining the chorus, your mug clinking with a stranger's. As we sway toward the next chapter, we'll chase the sparks of flirtation and the flare of brawls that ignite this place. But for now, let the bard's uneven tune, the dice's clatter, the fire's soft crackle hold you. You're here, in this niche of wild nights and wilder stories, part of its fleeting, fiery heart. Close your eyes, hum along. Let the tavern's chaos rock you gently into the dark. The tavern's chaos still hums around you, friend. The bard's uneven tune and the clatter of dice from our last dance, through its wild entertainment fading into a warm buzz. The fire's glow softens the scarred tables, and the crowd's laughter weaves a gentle lull, this niche alive with the flicker of mugs and fleeting glances. Now, as you sink deeper into the tavern's rhythm, your mug half empty, and the night growing bold, let's sway into the sparks that light this place afire romance and fights, the twin flames of its heart. Here, hearts flutter and tempers flare, turning strangers into lovers or foes in a single breath. So, rest your chin in your hand, let the hearth's warmth cradle you, and let's drift through these fleeting passions and sudden brawls, carried like whispers on a smoky breeze. The tavern's a stage for romance, friend, but it's no gentle courtship with roses and sonnets. As the ale flows, loosening tongues and courage, the air thickens with a boozy boldness. You catch it first in a glance, a squinting eye across a table, hazy with mead, locking onto another. A man with a grin missing half its teeth leans forward, slurring. "My lady." Your eyes outshine the stars. The woman beside him hurls a crust of bread at his head, and the room roars, cheering her aim. It's not rejection. Not quite just the tavern's way of flirting, rough and playful, a dance where a laugh can be as sweet as a kiss. Others try softer, offering a refilled mug or a clumsy compliment about a cloak's fine stitching. A traveler might help carry a bowl of pottage, hoping to win a smile, though the stew still spills, earning a shared chuckle. These moments, small and fleeting, are the tavern's tender undercurrent, a niche where hearts reach out, even if they stumble. For women in the crowd, barmaids, travelers, or merchants' wives, the tavern's a gauntlet of suitors. You watch one, sharp-eyed and quick, fend off a poet's flowery words with a quip that cuts like a knife. Another might entertain a soldier's tale, her laughter warm, but her hand near a mug, ready to swing if he steps too close. Some work the room with practiced ease, their smiles a currency for coin or company, their business discreet, but their presence loud. Love here is a gamble, and the stakes are high. A stolen glance can spark a night's joy or a lover's wrath. You see it brewing. A man laughs too long at a barmaid's jest, and his wife's glare across the table promises trouble. A bard's song about a wayward knight earns a scowl from a jealous suitor, and the air tightens, ready to snap. That tension, friend, is where fights ignite. as quick as a candle catching flame. The tavern's no stranger to brawls. They're as much a feature as the ale. It starts small, a spilled mug, a dice roll called foul, or a jest about someone's goat that lands wrong. Suddenly, a bench scrapes back, a shout cuts through the din, and it's on. A farmer hurls himself over a table, all flailing fists and no grace, landing in someone's pottage. Another grabs a beard, tugging like it's a rope, while mugs fly and ale splashes. It's not elegant, not deadly more comedic than cruel. A storm that burns bright and fast. The crowd doesn't scatter. They lean in, some cheering, some betting on who'll hit the floor first. One man joins the fray without knowing why, caught up in the tavern's wild pulse, his fists swinging at shadows. The keeper looms large in these moments, a storm god with a ladle in one hand, a club in the other, roaring for order. Most brawls don't need it. They fizzle out when someone trips, or a punch misses and lands in a wall. Weapons are rare. A drawn knife turns a scuffle into a legend, and no one wants the keeper's ban. The fight ends as quick as it began, with a bruised nose, a torn cloak, and a new nickname One-Eye Tom or Mug Smasher Meg. The strangest part? It's over. Truly over. The fighters share a mug, the crowd sings, and the tavern's heartbeat skips back to normal, as if the brawl was just another verse in its endless song. These sparks romances flutter. The brawls flare are the tavern's life, a niche where emotions run raw. You're not just watching. You're part of it. Your laugh mingling with the crowd's, your heart catching at a shy smile across the room. The keeper, ever watchful, holds this chaos together. A figure we'll meet soon, but for now, you're here, in the thick of it. As we drift toward the next moment, we'll curl up in the tavern's quieter corners, seeking rest amid its din. But for now, let the lovers jest, the fighters shout, the fire's soft crackle hold you. You're in this niche, a spark in its wild, warm night. Close your eyes, sway with the noise. Let the tavern's pulse rock you gently into the dark. The tavern's sparks still linger, friend. The echoes of flirtations and brawls from our last wander fading into the fire's soft glow. The crowd's laughter softens, and the clink of mugs slows. This niche, a warm cocoon of chaos and camaraderie. Now, as your eyelids grow heavy, the ale's warmth pulling you toward rest, let's curl up in the tavern's quieter corners. The night's winding down, and it's time to find sleep amid the din, then wake to the groggy dawn. So, lean against the smoky wall, let the hearth's hum cradle you, and drift with me through this final, gentle chapter, like a leaf settling on still water. Sleep here is no luxury, friend. If you're lucky, a creaky staircase leads to a shared room, its straw mattress lumpy, crawling with unseen companions. You lie shoulder to shoulder with strangers, their snores like a storm, boots on and dagger close for safety. Blankets are thin, smells shared garlic, sweat, the tavern's own perfume. Downstairs, poorer souls slump on benches or curl by the hearth, a dog for a pillow, stepped on by latecomers. The tavern never quiets muttering. Fire pops, a distant fart, but its noise becomes a lullaby, wrapping you in rough comfort. Dawn creeps in, pale light seeping through shutter cracks. You wake, neck sore, a bruise you don't recall earning. Someone's boot is on your chest. The bard snores, clutching his lute. A chicken pecks at crumbs, uninvited but unbothered. The keeper's up, clattering mugs, banging a ladle to rouse the floor sleepers. No breakfast feast, just leftover pottage, thicker now, and stale bread. You check your pouch, a coin, a button, better than nothing. Your boots are here, one nibbled but yours. The tavern stirs, groggy, as new faces trickle in, ready for the day's first ale. Last night's brawl is now legend, already twisted with ghosts. You smile, part of this niche, its messy living heart as the fire fades and the morning calls.